Hello, JCU alumni and friends. I'm Luke Petoskey, class of 2022 here at John Carroll, and I serve as the Alumni Engagement Specialist here at JCU. I'm thrilled to resume one of our favorite projects here in the Office of Alumni Relations, and that's the Young Alumni Spotlight. It's where we highlight the stories, the journeys, and the continued success of our young alums. And our Young Alumni Spotlight is Brenan Betro from the class of 2019. Brenan, thanks for hopping on with me today. And I want to give you the floor to share a little bit about yourself and briefly tell us who you are.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate you reaching out and having me on. I'm Brenan Betro, class of 19. That's my third season with the Browns, sixth in professional sports, working in digital media, social media marketing. So yeah, excited to kind of talk about journey since John Carroll and how JCU kind of prepped me for where I'm at right now. You mentioned Welsh Jesuit is definitely a big factor. It's a pretty major pipeline high school. I think there's 25 students that went to John Carroll from my class. So I think that was partly the influence and definitely the community that I felt at my high school, and enjoying kind of the Jesuit education was something that I was kind of looking for that community at the next place. And I wasn't sure that I wanted like very large university, but one that I could kind of call home and like make an impact on campus. So I was looking for kind of those ties, and I went for my visit, and it was just a really solid day. I think it was in the fall, and the campus always looks really great at that time, and just talked to a lot of great people within the communications department, and it just felt like a lot of good interactions, and it was the type of community that I was searching for at the time. So it was kind of a continuation of what I had received in high school, and then trying to expand upon that and take that next step. So, and for me too, like knowing that, even though I ended up moving back, knowing that with my job and the career that I wanted to have, there was a very high chance that I was going to move elsewhere. So it kind of factored into me staying closer to home for school and wanted to be around family, but also it was a really exciting time for Cleveland and Cleveland sports, with me wanting to be around that environment and go into that. So I think that was always something I can look back on as being happy that I was around for that, as far as these like really golden years of Cleveland sports era and Cavs championship and stuff like that. So it definitely meant more being around here for that versus if I had to celebrate in another city. Some advice I always give to people starting out, like whether they're going to school and want to get into like the sports communications business, or if it's just like trying to figure out what they want to do in general. At the Browns, we work a lot with our Stay in the Game Foundation, and they sometimes bring students around that don't really know what they want to do, but it's just kind of like exposing them to what could be opportunities. I feel like I always say and encourage just trying to do as much as possible and get involved as much as you can early on. That's kind of what I tried to do at John Carroll. I feel like I just signed up for a lot of things freshman year, and it became a lot, but it helped me to kind of figure out what I want to do and narrow it down going forward. But I think having a lot of different experiences in various areas on campus definitely helped like create a really well-rounded experience, and like helped me going forward. I think having that community piece and volunteering with Carol Ballers and other aspects like that, where you're in the community more, can see that side of it, I think helps when you're like dealing with like fostering community and audience with what I do, but also we do a lot of foundation work as well. So I think that was a great place to have that start, and realize the importance of keeping that side of it with whatever you're doing. And then with the Latin American Student Association, that was kind of the foundation of the first time, like really having a leadership role where I can kind of get a feel for my leadership style, but also it was a really good way to figure out how to work with other people that have different dynamics or different ways that they like to be communicated with. So I always look back to that as now being a manager, like trying to see throughout my time, like what works, what doesn't, and like how I've been able to tweak to best work with other people and be a better resource for them. So with those two in particular, but like all my on-campus work that I did prepared me a lot for my career now, with whether it's in sports information or the radio station. There's classes that I took that I look back on that there's like specific things that I'm doing exactly what I had for an assignment there in my job now. So there's certain things that translated a lot, but I feel like you can always take anything from experiences and be able to use that going forward. I think the biggest thing is having those experiences. I mean, it's important to give your best in the classroom for sure, but I think what John Carroll provides and then what you're able to do and take those that knowledge that you gain at John Carroll and try and translate it to some internship experiences over the summer, so you're prepared when you are looking for a job after graduation. It definitely helped kind of get that full experience and try out a lot of different things, and it was almost kind of hard to narrow down exactly what I wanted to do because I enjoyed a multitude of things, but I'm also lucky in the fact that I found something that was kind of able to mold all of that together, and I use a lot of the different experiences that I had within one position that I have now. But I think it kind of worked together, and at sports information with Chris Wensler was huge for me, and was, I think, part of the reason that I chose John Carroll too, is meeting him during my visit and kind of seeing where I can make an impact there and gain experience on campus. And calling games on WJCU was one of my favorite memories week to week, whether it's football or basketball, whether it's sports in between. I was able to jump in that as soon as I got on campus, which is huge. But yeah, and then just trying to find opportunities with Carroll connections, or just applying and see where I can find good ways to get into the industry and gain knowledge that way with the internships during the summers, and kind of be able to translate that back to the schoolwork in the fall too. I really enjoyed my time in San Antonio. I don't think there's a better place I could have started my career. I'm really grateful for having gone there and gone through that. And then it's just been a really awesome foundation going forward. But I kind of was waiting for the NBA hiring cycle after graduation and preparing for that, and just kind of sent my application all to teams all across the country and just wanted to see what worked. I was open to moving anywhere, and they reached out, we went through the interview process, and that alone was really awesome, because a lot of these places, either they hired somebody already or things are moving quickly during that process and you might not hear back. So it's tough to really get a response and kind of crack into like a full interview and then hoping that goes well. So it was great to have that opportunity with the Spurs, and then it just felt like a really good fit with our conversations, and that it would be a great place to start off. And ended up getting the internship position. Had never been to Texas before or knew anybody down there. Moved down 2 weeks later on a weekend, and then started job on Monday. So it was kind of just thrown into it, but I learned to really love it down there. I feel like to a lot of people's surprise that I met in Texas, I kept saying that San Antonio reminded me a lot of Cleveland, because it's a big city with a small town feel, and they live or die by their sports teams. They're super passionate. The culture within the city and how tight-knit the community was amazing. Um, so I think that, along with it being a very storied franchise and well-run organization, and they've just been doing it so well for so long, and kind of learning through that lens, but also being able to bring a lot of fresh new ideas and energy to it, because they were kind of starting from scratch in a way, with us building up a new team on the digital and social side. So that was awesome, and I kind of worked my way up to coordinator position and running the social channels day to day. And then, yeah, I feel like it's been really, really cool being able to translate it back to hometown team, when got in contact with the Browns and there was a fit for a manager job up here. And wasn't even anticipating moving back to Cleveland that quickly, but I feel like the city works like that, where it kind of reels you back in. And it's just been really cool ever since, in third season now, to kind of take things that I've learned throughout that time and moved away to grow into kind of having some of that knowledge and like know how the industry works, and then being able to come back and translate it to a team that I grew up rooting for, and then also being grateful that I had a foundation and base in the city already with John Carroll and people that I met through there, whether it be friends or just network and connections of young professionals kind of in the same like state that I am and point in their careers. So yeah, it's been kind of a cool first two chapters of my career, and looking forward to seeing what's coming next. It was a really great honor to be named to the list. And it's testament to my team that I have at the Browns that I work with, because it wouldn't be possible if we didn't have great collaboration across the board, whether it's in my social department or amongst marketing in general, with a lot of things that we're able to do, whether it's on the social channels or things with events in person, influencer marketing. But yeah, it was kind of cool to see a lot of the hard work that we put in last year, and with a really fun season with the team that we were able to capitalize on, and kind of see that being recognized. And I don't take lightly that I'm being able to represent kind of not only the community and area that I'm from, but also John Carroll, since they are in the city, and a lot of people reached out that I went to school with and are also in sports, to congratulate me, which was really cool, talking to them again. But yeah, I think like it's been really great, like not only talking to a lot of the people in my class and the classes around mine that are doing a lot of great things, but also like seeing how many people are out there, not only in Cleveland, but nationally, just really crushing it right now. And for me to just be named in that group of alumni that are trying to do their best and hopefully try and have their work noticed, it's been really cool. I think it's something that I alluded to earlier, but it's just kind of trying to gain as many experiences as you possibly can, whether that's at school and trying to involve yourself as many on-campus opportunities and roles as possible, to try and set yourself up for your career down the line. But I think also just internships, volunteer opportunities, I think the experiences are really what helps stand out, because like a lot of things look great on paper, but if you can like go out and gain that knowledge and do things in a tangible way and show that you have already been through it before you might get hired somewhere else or be considered, and you can talk through like how that's prepared you, that's always huge. But to see like that you have a list of these things that you were able to do, and events that you worked, I think that's goes a really long way when you're interviewing for a job.
First one, what was your freshman dorm at JCU?
I was Dolan Hall.
Your dorm? So was I. So was I.
Nice.
What was your go-to in-between order?
I feel like everybody went for the chicken tender basket. That was a go-to for everybody, especially after like a late night of studying or hanging out on the weekends, going down there. A couple of the melt sandwiches were good. I don't remember the exact name because they were all named after the dorms, but it was like this chicken melt with roasted tomatoes on it. That was really solid. I feel like it's underrated. And then every once in a while, I would like try to spice up a grilled cheese, add some tomato and bacon on there. That was solid. Some hot sauce.
You really know your way around the tween. What's your favorite or first memory that comes to mind from JCU?
Um, there's a lot of good ones. I would say I mentioned earlier working for the radio station and calling games. It was a really fun time for John Carroll football while I was there. But also, for one of my first memories, I think it was my first weekend on campus, and I was able to get on the radio and help call a game. So I think that just showing the opportunities that John Carroll provides, but that was definitely a very vivid memory for me of just being able to contribute right away. Also, the immersion trip that I took to Cuba during my senior year was an incredible time, and something that I look back on as like kind of realizing that I was meant to go to John Carroll and I'm on the right path, because it was one of those experiences that like were so great and would never want to take away. So being able to do that, I was like, okay, John Carroll was definitely the right way to go for that alone, and then everything else packaged with it.
So outside of working in professional sports, what's your favorite thing that you like to do outside of work?
I'm a big music fan and always looking to see who's in town. So I love going to a lot of concerts. I feel like we got some good venues in Cleveland. So whether big or small shows, love trying to see live music, hit up new restaurants, kind of just hanging out with friends. But yeah, I would say concerts is a big one.
You're from Cleveland, you're working in Cleveland. What's an underrated place that, maybe people haven't been to, but that you seem to really enjoy, or a place that's kind of like hanging low on the radar?
Yeah, I don't know, like completely off the radar, but I'm a big food person. I would say my favorite restaurant in town, which is on the east side, fairly close to John Carroll, is Brazilian spot called Batuque. That's really good, and I recommend it. I feel like when I bring it up, not many people know about it. It was like favorite kind of hangout cocktail spot, like Cloak and Dagger in Tremont's really cool. Besides that, I feel like there's an underrated art scene like in University Circle area with the Cleveland Institute of Art. Every once in a while, I'll go check out like an old black and white film over there at the Cinematheque. I think that's definitely underrated. On my side of town, on the west side, like Mason's Creamery is really good for ice cream. So yeah, those are a couple.
The last one, I've followed you, known you for a few years now. I know that you love to travel. What's your favorite place or places that you've traveled to, or maybe ones that are on your bucket list?
Yeah, I would say I've had a really amazing past year of travel where I've knocked out maybe the top two that were on my list recently. And those might be my favorite trips overall. I've had a lot of really great opportunities to travel, but this year going to Tokyo and then Portugal, those two were incredible. And I feel like I don't go a day without thinking about those trips and wanting to go back and thinking about when I can do it again. But those two, especially Tokyo, was kind of on that bucket list for a very long time. So being able to cross that off and experiencing culture on the complete other side of the world was a really great time.
This was a very productive conversation, Brenan. Thanks for starting us off on the right foot as we resume the Young Alumni Spotlight here at the Office of Alumni Relations. That's going to do it for our conversation, folks. So thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned for more content from JCU Alumni. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us at JCU Alumni, Instagram, Twitter, and we are John Carroll University Alumni Association on Facebook. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.